Yo, what's up guys? Today we're going to be focusing on Dionysus. We're going to be breaking down all of his boons and, kind of where I kind of rate them or think where they're strong, where they're kind of weak. So we're going to start at the top of the list with Dionysus boons. We're going to start with Drunken Strike. Drunken Strike is Dionysus' basic attack. So your attack inflicts hangover. The standard one does 4 damage every second. So this is a pretty good strike. Any strike that does status effect is good in my book, because it procs my favorite thing, privileged status. So it's always going to be good in my book if it does that. Otherwise, nothing too crazy about Drunken Strike. Very solid overall. Next is Drunken Flourish, and very similarly to Drunken Strike, also inflicts hangover status. Nothing too special about it though. Also another solid flourish if you need something to inflict statuses. I always recommend having a primary status and a secondary status on whatever build you're doing, unless you're going for like a one color build. Yeah. So next up is Trippy Shot. Trippy Shot is one of my favorite casts in the game. It's very unique, and it's a utility. So it is definitely more of a utility cast versus just doing damage. So what it does is your cast lobs a large explosive burst that bursts into festive fog. So it does damage on cast. So like you throw it, it will come down. It's kind of like a bomb. From then on, it will release like this mist, and in the fog, or it's a fog. So for 5 seconds, wafting fumes briefly stun foes in the area every 0.25 seconds. So you throw that on a boss or some enemies, it's gonna stun them periodically. We're going to cover some other boons that are going to add some pretty cool status effects to that, or just not even the status effect, just different effects to that. So it's a very useful cast, something you'll play around with I think a lot in your builds. It can definitely be like a main focus, and you'll see I have builds that are kind of based around Trippy Shot. Next is Drunken Dash. Drunken Dash causes hangover several times near where you started, and the hangover damage from this is 2 damage every 0.5 seconds. So yeah, this inflicts a status effect. It's solid. It's not my favorite dash, so it's probably like more mid-ground. But just for something, if you're looking to be very movement heavy and inflict statuses while you're moving, it might be up your alley. But I don't think it's one of the stronger dashes in particular, so I usually would skip it. But it depends on your build, honestly. So next up, we're gonna go with Dionysus' Aid. Your call inflicts hangover on foes all around you for 1.5 seconds. So pretty much you'll see whenever you do this, it's just gonna be like big bursts of hangover effects. Big purple burst. One of my issues with this aid is that it kind of obstructs your vision. So like you can't necessarily, like if you're doing this against a boss where you need to kind of see what they're doing to see what kind of phase they're in, what attack they're gonna do, it's gonna kind of block your view. So you gotta be careful of that. It's also another one of the aids that aren't one of my favorites. It doesn't make you invulnerable at all. It's an effect that happens around you for the duration 9 seconds, or if you have your thing charged up to max, whatever that time limit is. It's just gonna keep happening around you, inflicting hangover damage around enemies around you. So I don't generally pick this up as like a first choice for a call, but pick it at your own risk. Like I said, it can obstruct your view. But yeah, so we'll move on to the next boon, which is Premium Vintage. Gain health when you pick up one of the nectars. So you'll gain an extra 20 health when you pick up your max life, not just like healing. You'll get an extra 20 max health. So this is solid if you're getting a lot of nectars during your run, but I generally don't. I maybe get 1 or 2 nectars a run, so I don't generally pick this up. But if you're aiming for nectars in a run and you want to build your max health, this will be good. But otherwise, this is not a boon that you need to prioritize in any shape or form. Next up is After Party. If your health is low, after encounters restore to the threshold, so life threshold, so you have to be 30% or under, and it's going to bring that up to you, or bring it up to 30%. So this is a solid boon if you're taking a lot of damage or if you're running a low health build, then this can be really good. Also not a high priority boon, but it can be helpful, especially when you are low in health. Next up is Strong Drink. Strong Drink I think is actually pretty good. I think you benefit the most from this boon if you can grab it early. If you can grab it early, that's amazing. So it's so what it does, using a fountain restores all your health and gives you bonus damage. The bonus damage is 3%, but at different rarities that will be more. I think it can get up to like 7 or something if it's epic. It'll be around that. But this can definitely be really good early on, because if you get this early, you're gonna hit at least 4 fountains. So even if you get the base, that's still 12% damage if you have the base rarity. So that's still pretty good, and it's always gonna heal you for your full amount of fountain. So generally a pretty good boon. I definitely recommend grabbing this early if you can, and if you're not trying to prioritize anything else from Dionysus. Okay, so positive outlook. You take less damage while at 40%. So I think this is pretty solid. And we're going to talk about some of these other boons, but I think this is pretty solid in conjunction with some of the Trippy shot buffs. So one of the Trippy shot buffs, which I think we'll be talking about next, lets you take or gives you damage resistance while you're in your Trippy shot, which is fantastic. So adding this to it, and if you're low health, it's going to add another 10%, and this is just good for a boss fight, because if you're in a boss fight and you die and you come back with your death defiance, you're not going to be at full health, so you're going to be at 40% or at 40% or less way quicker. So positive outlook's pretty solid, but it's not high priority. Yeah. So next up, high tolerance. This is one of the boons that augments Festive Fog. I definitely think if you're running a Trippy shot build, this would be something on your list. You also need to have Trippy shot to get this. Yeah, so what high tolerance does, you take less damage while standing in your Festive Fog. So the base is 13%. Go up, I think it can go all the way up to like at least 20%, depending on the rarity. But this is pretty good to dirty Trippy shot down. You kind of stand in it and you fight the enemies, and you'll take less damage while in it. So the bad thing is it will limit your, if you're trying to stay in your Trippy shot, it limits your movement, but you'll be taking less damage, and you won't have to focus on being mobile while in your high tolerance, because you'll be able to take less damage. So I think this is like, if you're running a Trippy shot build like I have, you're gonna want to get this boon. Next up is bad influence. Deal more damage while 3 or more foes are hangover afflicted, so that damage increase will be by 50%. You need Drunken Dash, Drunken Strike, Drunken Flourish, or Dionysus Aid to get this solid boon. If you're doing a lot of like AoE damage, inflicting hangover on a lot of different enemies at once, this is definitely a good boon to get. Not high priority, but if it comes up, I definitely recommend taking it if you are inflicting a lot of status effects, specifically hangover on the enemies. Okay, so numbing sensation is the next one up. Your hangover effects also make foes slower. So again, this one has some prerequisites. You need Drunken Dash, Drunken Strike, Drunken Flourish, or Dionysus Aid. So the move speed reduction, the base is 15%. This one also isn't high priority. In general, like I think on lower heat runs especially, you won't necessarily need this because the enemies will be moving too fast. But if you use the Pact of Punishment to increase the movement speed of enemies, you might want to think about running this if you are doing or running through Dionysus. So peer pressure, hangover afflicted foes inflict it on other foes near them every 4 seconds. So they're gonna just kind of tick down every 4 seconds and inflict somebody else with hangover. That damage you'll get from hangover is 4, another solid one. But if you're consistently inflicting hangover with maybe your basic attack or your flourish, I don't think you need this, so this isn't high priority at all. Next up, the legendary Blackout. So hangover afflicted foes take bonus damage in Festive Fog. They take, in the fog combo damage, 60% more damage. So if you're running a Trippy shot build, you should get this. The prerequisites are Trippy Shot, of course, and then having Drunken Strike, Drunken Flourish, or Dionysus Aid. So this is really good if you're using, if you can get multiple Trippy Shots out. You can be in there and doing a 60% more damage, and then plus the status privilege and whatnot, you can be doing upwards of 100% more damage with this. So the Blackout, I think, is definitely necessary for the Trippy Shot build. So definitely recommend this. I think this is definitely priority if you're running Dionysus and specifically Trippy Shot focused builds. It's a pretty good legendary. Next, we're going to get into the duos of Dionysus. This one is Aphrodite and Dionysus. It's called Low Tolerance. Your hangover effects can stack more times against weak foes. Max stacks versus weak foes. +3. So they'll be able to stack up to 3 times against weak foes. And weak foes are already taking more damage. So they're going to be getting exploded. Especially, like, I don't think you're going to need to stack hangover 3 times on like regular enemies, but on bosses you're going to be melting them. Its prerequisites are Drunken Strike, Drunken Flourish, Drunken Dash, and Dionysus Aid. The equivalent of that on Aphrodite plus Passion Flare. Next up is Ice Wine. This is Dionysus and Demeter. Your cast blasts an area with freezing festive fog that inflicts chill. So this is also really good if you like run a Dionysus Demeter build and you wanted to get chill on enemies another way, because you can stack chill, I believe, up to 10 times with one of her boons, which is really good. So you inflict chill up to 10 times. So the blast damage is 30% more. It inflicts chill. Trippy Shot doesn't inflict hangover, so you don't want to rely on that. It doesn't inflict hangover by itself, so you don't want to rely on that to be your stats effect. Trippy Shot is more of just a stun-in for damage, and then the other bonus effects of maybe taking less damage if you get the correct boon. So this is a pretty solid duo to get. Both the Aphrodite and Demeter have really good synergy with him. Next one is Scintillating Feast. Your Festive Fog effects also deal lightning damage periodically, so this is clearly Zeus. You need to have Lightning Strike, Thunder Flourish, Thunder Dash as Zeus's aid, and Trippy Shot and High Tolerance with Dionysus. So this is just good for getting more damage out of your Dionysus build, specifically Trippy Shot, because it will just periodically do lightning damage, and that's 60 damage, and that's solid. That's really solid. Next up, Splitting Headache. Hangover afflicted foes are more likely to take critical damage. Bonus critical chance per fog 1.5%. Yeah, so this is Dionysus and Artemis. You need Deadly Strike, Deadly Flourish, True Shot, or Artemis' Aid, and the equivalent of those on Dionysus' side. This is okay, 1.5 per fog. You know, I don't know how many fogs you're going to be getting out depending on how you have your cast set up. I have, for myself, I generally use the 1 regenerating one, but I know a lot of people like to have the 3 and collect it. So it depends on that. I don't think this is high priority at all. And I also don't think Dionysus and her have great synergy together, so I wouldn't really recommend going for this if it pops up. But if you're focused on that build, you know, try it out and see what you think. But it's definitely not high priority. The next one I think is definitely a lot better. It's Dionysus and Ares. Cause of Nausea. Your hangover effects deal damage faster. So if you're looking to do just immediate damage, this is going to make your hangover effects, you know, just do the damage immediately. So it goes from 0.5 seconds to 0.35 seconds. And then there's something similar to that on Ares' side with the Doom. If you get those things to line up, you know, you're going to be doing a lot of status or curse damage pretty fast. The prerequisites for this: Curse of Agony, Curse of Pain, Curse of Vengeance on Ares' side, and then for Dionysus it's Drunken Strike, Drunken Dash, Drunken Flourish, or Dionysus Aid. I think this is definitely a priority if you're running Dionysus and Ares. Specifically Ares, he has one of the stronger stats effects damage wise. Next one is Exclusive Access. Any boons you find are more potent. So this is Dionysus and Poseidon. Minimum boon rarity epic. So if you can get this early, this is excellent. Okay. The prerequisites for this on Poseidon's side are Tempest Strike, Tempest Flourish, Flood Shot, Tidal Dash, and Poseidon's Aid. And it's the equivalent of that on Dionysus' side. Okay, again, this is a really good boon if you can get it early. If you get it late in the game, it's trash, don't get it. But early on, if you're running Dionysus and Poseidon, definitely grab it. I would definitely say this is priority. And it, like, with the prerequisites, I think it's pretty easy to get early as well. You could definitely get it in Tartarus and then just be getting epic boons the rest of your run if you're running blue and purple. Alright, and the last boon from Dionysus, the last duo, is Calculated Risk. Your foes' range attack projectiles are slower. Foe projectile speed reduction 40%. So this is Athena and Dionysus. The prerequisites are Divine Strike, Divine Flourish, Divine Dash, and Athena's Aid. And again, it's the equivalent on Dionysus' side. This isn't a high priority. I don't think, especially if you're running Divine Dash, the foe projectile speed is a big deal. So this is definitely low priority. I wouldn't take this over some of the better stuff that we've talked about previously or in other videos. Alright, so that is the last duo. Again, we'll run over really quick what I think are the priority or stronger boons from Dionysus. Start from the top. Drunken Strike definitely is a priority. Drunken Flourish, same. Trippy Shot, yes. Drunken Dash, no. Dionysus 8, no. Premium Vintage, nope. After Party, I'll say it's like middle ground. You know, it depends on what your life cap is at, honestly. So it's like middle ground. I think Strong Drink, definitely, if you can get it early, I think you should grab it. Because those other things are gonna come up, especially if you have the slots open for your actives. They'll still show up if you can get Strong Drink. It has no prerequisites. Grab it early if you can. Next up, Positive Outlook. You take less damage while at 40%. If you can grab this early, or even like middle of the game, I think it's solid because you're gonna be at 40% a lot if you're dying and being rezzed with your Death Defiances. So high tolerance, I definitely think this is high priority if you're running a Trippy Shot build, so I'd say yes to that. Bad Influence, deal more damage while 3 or more hangover afflicted. I would say this isn't high priority. Honestly, Dionysus is pretty utility based, so you're going to be going a lot to him for his extra health or damage resistance at lower percentages of health, or just like the fountain stuff as well. Numbing Sensation, your hangover affects more foes, also makes foes move slower. I don't think that's priority at all. Peer Pressure, hangover afflicted foes inflicted on other foes near them. I think that's pretty good. I'd say that's middle of the ground. Again, Dionysus is very utility, so you're getting him for his status effect. He doesn't have like big burst damage a lot. He has a lot of health regen stuff that come in passives. He has good status effect, and you can pass his status effect around really easily with a lot of his boons. So remember, he's very utility based, and he shouldn't be your primary damage, honestly. Next up is Blackout. Yes, if you're running a Dionysus build, try to get this. Like, Trippy Shot is the best thing in my opinion about Dionysus, and you should do everything to build around it. So I would say yes, get Blackout, hangover afflicted foes, take bonus damage festival. That's 60%. Yes, that is definitely a must get. That's definitely a priority get in building for Dionysus. Low tolerance. Aphrodite and Dionysus have great synergy together. This 100%. If you're doing a build similar to that, this 100% is a priority pick. Your hangover effects can stack more times against weak foes, up to 3 times. That's great. Ice Wine. Your cast blast an area with Fist of Fog that inflicts chill. Middle of the road. I think Dionysus and Demeter have a solid synergy, so I'd say that's middle of the road. If you're running, definitely pick that up. So the next one's Scintillating Feast. I would say I don't think they have great synergy, honestly, Zeus and Dionysus, so I would avoid running them together. Scintillating Feast just add more damage to a Trippy Shot, 60 damage from the lightning proccing, so it's okay. Definitely not high priority though. Splitting Headache, hangover afflicted foes, more critical damage, super low priority. I wouldn't run Dionysus and Artemis together. Curse of Nausea, this is high priority. Ares and Dionysus are very good together. Great, they both have great status effects, and you're gonna get a lot of damage out of their status effects if you run them together. And you have Curse of Nausea, and you'll get the damage faster instead of having to wait. So I definitely think this is good. Exclusive access, this is Poseidon and Dionysus again. This is really good if you get it early on. If you get it late, it's trash. So it really depends on, you know, where you are in your run with getting this. But early on, this is an amazing boon because it's gonna make all your other boons stronger. And then last but maybe least, calculated risk with Athena. Foes projectile speed reduced by 40%. This is maybe one of the worst duos for him. I definitely don't think you need to get this at all. Don't prioritize this at all. If you see it, probably just avoid it. Don't take it. So, well, yeah, guys, that is the Dionysus breakdown. Like I said, he's very utility based. You never want to focus. You never want to focus him as your damage. He should, at most, be the secondary. He's solid though, and with Trippy shot offers very unique utility versus the other gods and their boons. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you check out Twitch. I run builds like almost every day, different stuff. So if you're interested in seeing some full runs, definitely check out my Twitch, which is linked below. And yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments, and have a good one. Peace.